Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I forgot to mention that Matisse Thybulle signed a offer sheet, 3-year, $33 million offer sheet with the Dallas Mavericks. Completely forgot about it. Well, I'm glad I did because now I get to tell you that Portland matched it. We seen the conclusion of it take place just now. Is Matisse Thybulle worth $11 million a year? Not based on what I've seen. I know he's a fantastic defensive player, and I know his deficiency is that he can't shoot the three. I also know that there was a game early in the season last year, or maybe midway through the season last year, where he hit like 3 threes in the first quarter against my Lakers. In a game where we will not soon forget, because for one, it was the only game I missed. I was helping a friend move that day, but also because they hit so many threes on us, it was just something that our fan base won't soon forget. It was probably one of the more memorable games of last season, just because of how much they actually hit shots on us. And I think it was the second game after we had made the trade to get Beasley and Vando and all those guys. So, yeah, that's when Matisse really shined, as far as I could tell, with the Blazers, and maybe that's why they see the value in bringing him back. But again, how many forwards do the Blazers need? They went from having no forwards when they needed them to having too many of them and nothing else. What are you trying to turn to the Nets? What are you doing? You got Rupert. You got Grant on the biggest contract possible. You obviously got Shaedon Sharpe, who's basically the same height. You got Nazir Little on the team. If I'm not mistaken, you also drafted another wing that height. It's like I like the switchability of it, the Toronto thing, the Brooklyn thing. I like it. But for the Blazers, it's like when you got Shaedon Sharpe on a rookie contract, who's going to be basically a star, and Grant on a ridiculous contract, you're going to want to play both of them the most minutes. Why you keep doubling down on guys like Rupert like over and over again? I don't understand it. They all play the same position. You're not going to get the most out of them. So this is just yet another reason why Portland just really, really doesn't have good direction right now, in my humble opinion. $11 million a year for Matisse Thybulle is a no-go for the Portland Trailblazers. For the Dallas Mavericks, I thought it was a good piece because they were trying to bring to them all of the defensive pieces necessary to make them a good defensive team. And last year, they were one of the worst defensive teams. And so they're trying to get Kyrie and Luka the best defensive players possible. I thought that was going to work out, especially since they brought themselves Grant Williams, Omax Prosper, Lively. I just loved that idea. So I was fairly confident that he would play up $11 million if they put the right role around him. And so he would have been better at Dallas, in my opinion, based on what it is they're building. He's going to go back to Portland and try to fight for minutes with all the rest of those forwards up there. So, yeah, man, teams who need forwards, you should probably be trying to get involved in this 3-team deal with Portland. Try to see if you can grab one, because they have too many of them. They ain't going to do nothing with them. They're really not. There should be only maybe 4 on the team. They don't need no more than that, because the guys that they got are going to eat up all the minutes, and we know it. So, yeah, that's a log jam of unnecessary proportions, and they can fix it. And it's an easy fix. So, yeah, that's what I got to say there, man. It's going to be nice to be switchable, but when half of those players can't shoot, Rupert can't shoot, Grant, in theory, can't shoot the three, your spacing's going to be funny, man. This is going to be funny. And why sign up for that? Scoot's not particularly a shooter, from what I understand. So it's like, why are we signing up for that? No. All of that is bad, Portland, and Thybulle only makes it worse because we know he's not going to be hitting 3 threes in the first quarter ever again. So, Grant, Thybulle's great defense there. So Scoot's going to have some defenders around him for sure over the next several years. I like that idea. I really do. I just know neither one of them can shoot. So, this is Portland, man. I don't know, man. Have y'all moved your Nurkic yet? Why is he still there? Move that contract for a player that fits the situation a bit better. He just don't fit. He doesn't fit Dame's team, and he surely will not fit Scoot and Sharpe's team. He should be comfortable around the league. There are teams that would love to have Nurkic, I'm sure. In fact, my Lakers are probably one of them, honestly. We could use a big dude like that. But Portland, I suppose you can, but it doesn't fit what you have, is essentially what I'm saying. Everybody can use a guy who's over 240 pounds, 7 feet tall right now because of Jokic. But I just don't. I think they've worn out that particular player's role. Having him be the starting center at this point is just misguided to me. He's not going to make it through the season. He's getting older. They can upgrade. I would love for them to land Claxton You know what I'm saying? If Portland can land Claxton, then they start to have an identity of defense. I don't know how the hell they would do that, but sending Dame out, make sure you bring back a guy like that. That would be a great acquisition to put next to that Grant contract. They're not going to win championships or nothing with that player, but he fits what it is that they're trying to build. Next to Shaedon Sharpe and all those guys, that's a good look. And if only I trusted in Ayton, I would say he would be a good look too. You might not want to go that route based on certain things. I don't know if he'd be happy there no more than he was in Phoenix. So I'm probably cool on that if I'm Portland, but I'm definitely upgrading the center position, and I'm bringing myself somebody who I think fits a bit better for my situation. So while he's healthy, while Nurkic is healthy, you know Nurkic don't stay healthy for long. You think about trading him at the trade deadline, he may not be healthy by then. He may not be upright. You better trade him while he's upright now. So these are the type of things I'm thinking about. Some of these teams, some of you guys have really healthy players that we know damn well are injury prone. Right now, they're healthy in the offseason. I think it would be very helpful for some of the teams out there to consider trading those players right now. I'm just being honest. Because if they're in the middle of a pattern where they get hurt and then they get healthy, or they get hurt and then they get healthy, they get hurt and they get healthy, and they're healthy right now, yeah, it's time to move them now. You don't want the season to start without getting them off the books. Savvy GMs are going to get those players off their books right now. So that's what I want to say, unless it's, and I'm not talking about Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? I know people are going to be like, AD. No. That's much more of a serious piece. I'm thinking guys like Gordon Hayward. There's a couple guys around the league. You know they ain't going to be healthy for long. Just that's it. That's the only name I'm willing to throw out there. Knock on wood for everybody's good health. But some of y'all in the middle of a pattern that ain't good, and you could definitely be moved for the betterment of the team you own. And that's just, people come to me for the honesty, I give them that. Matisse Thybulle, I don't think is necessarily one of those guys at all. Him being traded, or rather him being matched, staying with the Blazers. If he plays up the contract and they give him a role, I'm sure it'll be a good signing because he's going to be an excellent defensive player. And I guess he is an improving shooter, but this is an era where shot making is important. Okay, let's just be honest. If you can't hit shots, even if you're really good at defense and various different things, the spacing is going to be funny with you on the floor. And meaning people are going to be playing off you in exaggerated ways, exploiting that three-point shooting that you can't do, making it so that possessions are wasted with you shooting the ball. It's one of the biggest problems in the NBA right now. And with every possession mattering, with so many teams getting better at executing, at just flat out shooting the ball, you can't have lost possessions where defenses don't have to do anything against you. All that means is healthier legs for those same shooters, healthier legs for those same drivers. I just know better. It doesn't equate very well in this era. And some of these dudes that they're paying that cannot shoot, I don't know how that's going to really equate, because the more this becomes a theme, the less those guys are going to be desired over time. You know, you're not going to see them on the floor, so no one's going to want to trade for them either. It's like, if you don't realize that these guys are going to be stuck on your team, not even going to be played by your coaches, then I don't know what to tell you. You know, some of these dudes, they can play defense, they can rebound, they can push people around. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to have a funny spacing situation. It's ultimately going to make it so that the other team will likely have more quality possessions than your team. That's just what it comes down to, man. And so I'm trying to help in whatever way I can. I'm glad my Lakers limited as many of those players as we have, because I started seeing signs of that last year with our coach. You just wouldn't play these guys. They're talented as hell. Vanderbilt's talented, but it's almost like the spotlight's on him to overcome a weakness in order to stay on the floor. And that's what it's going to be. That's exactly what the defense forces you in this league. So these Jeremy Grants and Thybulles, these dudes, if they can't hit shots, man, I just don't think the careers that they have are going to go the way that they will hope. Talented as they are, they just ain't going to be on the floor. More and more Jet Howards and Sensabaugh coming in, hitting shots every damn possession. There ain't going to be no room for guys that break shots. Teams are just better at that now. So that's what I want to say, man. I just kind of see where this is headed. And so that's what I got to say. That's why a guy like Dame Lillard is ultimately going to be coveted, because we obviously know he's one of the best executors of basketball in the history of the sport. So most people think if they have a good enough team, he's gonna get them home. So that's really the investment there, and we'll see how it works out for everybody. That's pretty much my thought there. I don't know if Portland's gonna be able to, if this is gonna help with the situation. I'd imagine it doesn't, because this is now another piece that they have at $33 million of equity that they can't move to make this trade happen. You ain't gonna be able to move Thibault. So we didn't necessarily need for Dallas. You probably benefited from letting Dallas take Matisse Thybulle at that price for that reason, if nothing else. But this just leads to me thinking that this could turn into a situation where either they take back something they have no business taking back to get it over with, or they end up starting the season with Dame Lillard rostered on the team. That's what it's starting to look to me. And what does that mean for the other free agents who are waiting for this domino to drop? Is the market locked for those guys, like KD had and Gobert's trade had last year? I think it's not crazy to think that there could be some stagnation in regards to those guys getting signed based on this. So I think pressure is going to come to Dame's camp to make things happen in regards to expanding that list based on who else is affected by this in the market. Other players who have power and stuff like that, they ain't going to have complete teams because Dame's, pushing his power. And that's when this can start getting real funny for Dame and his people. They can start getting real funny. Because let's just say, for example, a guy like, I don't know who has hella power, LeBron James, for example, even though this is me making up this right here, but this is an example. If a guy like LeBron James feels like Dame's situation is keeping him from completing his team, and he got more power and leverage than Dame, this could start getting weird for Dame in regards to, the little games that are played behind the scenes. Because it stops being about you. It starts being about other people who have a little more power than you pushing their weight around. Like, yo, I'm trying to get old guy, so yeah, move him to somewhere else so we can get this season rolling, because they ain't about to ruin my season doing all this. You know what I mean? And those are the type of things you open the door up for when you start kicking your weight around, like you have the leverage to do so. You start finding out the people who behind the scenes working on your behalf start getting pushed in different ways, start getting pressed in different ways that make it so that they're not able to do for you what it is that you're paying for to do for you. That type of stuff, that type of leverage games behind the scenes is possible. And so, yeah, man, at this point, you just start wondering how much Portland is going to start getting pressed about hurrying up to make a move by the higher ups in the league. Like, yo, don't have Dame Lillard sitting on the sidelines here so that you can play a rookie. Don't hurry up and get this done. I'd imagine it's going to be the sentiment from a lot of folks behind the scenes. And Portland's probably not inclined to even do anything about that, because once they execute this deal, it's going to affect them for years, and we know that. So I don't know if that pressure even works on the organization themselves, and if they're serious about making themselves as best they can be, that's not pressure they can adhere to. The pressure to be better is going to be stronger than that. Pressure to make the right deal so that they don't tank their franchise completely is going to be much greater than that. So that's what it's going to get. So that's when it's going to just ultimately get as ugly as people think it's going to get. I expect media games. If this thing drags out another 7-8 days, you're going to start seeing the media talking about weird stuff. No telling what's going to pop up, out of nowhere. Maybe even a scandal wouldn't shock me, because this is just coming off of a year where the market was locked up because of players' movement, or not so being able to move, so to speak. And it's just a nightmare. They got through the collective bargaining agreement negotiations rather quickly, which tells me that both sides would rather things move quickly, regardless if they agree or not. And Dame needs to read that as well, read that tea leaf as well. Well, both sides, players and owners, came to a quick, amicable decision that I'm sure neither of them was overly thrilled about. But that's the importance of sacrificing to keep things moving. And you best believe, even if you don't value that, everybody else is. So you better keep moving. I'm telling you, I've seen this stuff move in different directions. I remember the Dwight Howard situation back in the day when he was trying to push his weight around, and we saw what they did to him for the next 8 years too. And we see where he's at right now, even though he's in the best shape of his life. Listen, we could be hard-headed if we want. But it's not too late to turn around and do the right thing if you Dame Lillard. It's not too late to say, okay, fine, I'll go to Boston. Because that right there is what everybody's hoping he going to say. So they could trade him for a pick and probably Jaylen Brown, or put Jaylen Brown in a 3-team deal or something like that, and they can move that way. I think people would like that a lot. Because even if they don't want to move Jaylen Brown, they got the equity to make something happen if they want to do that. Celtics got picks, all kinds of stuff. And a win now, time 9 next to Jason Tatum that should make it so that they possibly win a championship. I'm not necessarily... Look, if Dame Lillard goes up there with Jason Tatum, I'm not sure they don't win the Eastern Conference. I'm not sure they don't. And Porzingis, depending on what they retain, obviously, you're going to have to reimagine their defensive identity. But Mazzulla ball with Dame Lillard shooting threes? Yeah, man, sign me up for that. Definitely sign me up for that. Jason Tatum, Porzingis, and Dame Lillard ain't the worst trio in the world when the system is set up for them to launch threes all night long. I kind of like my odds, especially if I'm keeping Robert Williams. If he's able, well, yeah, I might be able to keep him because his injury issues may make it so that teams don't necessarily covet him. But, I'm trying to keep as much defense around those guys. But Porzingis going to block shots. Williams going to block shots. Tatum's going to block shots. You know what I mean? They're going to launch shots, but that's what the system's for. Maybe get themselves a little facilitator or something at the 2-guard spot. I don't know. This would be a great situation for Azura Thompson or something like that. I'm just trying to concoct how that works. But that's the type of piece that you want in that situation. To just play the 2-guard spot and then facilitate where Dame and, Tatum would otherwise not. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Because at the end of the day, I don't want Dame to be responsible for playmaking duties in that situation. Not at all. I want him to shoot the ball as much as possible. And I want somebody talented getting him rhythm passes in that situation. Somebody who can play some damn defense very well. This is Thompson. So this is how you just concoct it in your head. You don't necessarily think Detroit's going to relinquish that piece in any way or anything like that, but this is how you have to move if you're the Boston Celtics and trying to do this and trying to sell it to Dame. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, Dame Lillard's going to have his options, and the teams that are going to want him are going to be willing to move a lot for him. He just has to choose them. You know what I mean? I think the New Orleans Pelicans is also very interesting. I do. I think that's interesting, depending on what they retain. Dame Lillard going to their situation. If they still got Zion and they still got B.I. after that, that ain't the worst trio in the world for over the next 3 years. Or if they decide to move Zion, obviously you want to keep Herb Jones. The contract they just signed is great for Herb. Maybe you're moving Zion, bringing in Dame, B.I., Dame. You're probably getting some high-quality power forward back in that situation as well. Maybe even take on the Tobias Harris contract somehow. I don't know why I roped them in, but I'm looking at an expiring contract for a lot of money that in next year, if I'm New Orleans, I can have come off the books so I can bring me a star or bring me a high-level talent next to Dame and B.I. Maybe some type of power forward or center or something like that. You know what I mean? This is the type of thing you can concoct and say, okay, because Dame's on, a 4-year contract, 5 years, something, and it's going to explode to $1 million. So whatever it is that we're going to have next to him is going to be championship worthy and getting better. So it's going to be a young player like Zion, like B.I. You know what I mean? With role players, if I can keep them in this situation, I don't know how you keep some of these guys you really want to keep if you're New Orleans. But that's the point. Because they have those guys, they can have a competitive trade package for the Blazers to want to take back. You start looking at some of those pieces we've mentioned. You start looking at a guy like Trigger Murphy. You start looking at an Alvarado. And you start realizing that those are pieces you want. You start looking at that Jones contract, and you want that if you're Portland. So, these are things, you know what I mean? If Dame would be willing to go to New Orleans, that's a team that I think Portland would be doing a pretty good deal with. Who would have the role to allow Dame to be himself? He's going back up there with CJ, so his brother's there. I'm not in love with putting them together again, but they also didn't have as much talent as they would have in New Orleans back in the days when they were in Portland, because Portland was doing all the dumb stuff with Nurkic in them. So, you know what I'm saying? These two would be in a much better situation from which to try to do what it is they do. So, I think New Orleans is probably the next best place in just throwing stuff out there. If I'm Dane, I don't want to go to Miami. I can at least rejoin my guy CJ, and we can keep this thing going with better talent around us. You know what I mean? That's familiarity on the court. So I don't know if that's something he would be willing to do, but I can see New Orleans saying, yeah, let's make the move. Because they want to get better. They want to get better, and they do have very good talent. So I can see that. Minnesota, like I said earlier, they can do cat, but I think I can do better if I'm Portland. Probably hanging up the phone with Minnesota, honestly. Unless they talk about Anthony Edwards, which I know damn well they are not. But, you know, like a team like Detroit, I think you can get a really good package out of Detroit and leave Dame with a damn good team in Detroit. I don't think he won't play there. But like I said, they have Stuart Thompson. They got Cade Cunningham. You know, I can start making moves for some of these pieces if I'm Portland and feel good about that. You know, what's his name? Killian Hayes. Not to say that they need any more guards, but these are tradable pieces. These are teams that can, you know, possibly take back some contracts I don't like. Take back Bogdanovich expiring, send them Nurkic. You know, these are things, send them Grant's contracts since they love Grant so damn much up there. I don't know if they want him 5 year, $160 million, but they love Grant up there, so that probably send him back to Detroit. Get that contracts out of here. Bring myself Nurkic. Bring myself either Duran or Wiseman. They coming up off of one of them damn centers. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot you can do if Dame would just open up the market to allow himself to be traded to one of these damn teams. Trade him for Cade Cunningham and go play with Ivy. You know, Ivy's more of a traditional shooting guard. Maybe, I was about to say maybe Pistons be looking to trade Ivy. Then I was thinking, hell nah, they better not. Not in this deal. No. You go put Ivy up there with Scoot Henderson. No. I'm a Western Conference fan. Do not let them two play together. No. But nevertheless, I think Ivy's more of a traditional shooting guard than, say, Anthony Simons or CJ or all these guys. He could play with the ball or without it and dart all over the floor and do what he does. So I'm kind of low-key excited about him and Osura on the same team. Anyway, point is, Dame can go to Detroit and probably replace Cade Cunningham and one of them dudes and still have a lot of talent to play with. Whole lot in Detroit. And still have a bunch of shots come his way. Just take all the damn shots. I'm sure Detroit would love to have you up there. I have no doubt about that. They like Cade Cunningham, but he ain't no damn Dame Lillard. Not even 3 years of Dame Lillard. He ain't. No. That's an upgrade because I don't know about his injury health going forward. So that's my thing with Cade Cunningham. I'm on the trade Cade Cunningham right now train. He's a candidate for what we're talking about. Reoccurring guys, healthy right now. I'm telling you. I kind of see where that Cade Cunningham thing is going. He's not athletic to begin with, and he's starting to get these early injuries. That is a bad combination for me. And he's supposed to be somebody that you want to pay $260 million and have play 40 minutes a game, including playoffs? No. Hell no. He's not getting off to the right start. That's a destined bad contract if I've ever seen one. So, yeah, I'm moving him early if I'm Detroit, and I'm replacing him with somebody like Dame Lillard or maybe even somebody young, you know. But he's getting moved for sure because that's a commitment I ain't going to be able to make. Not with all these players like Ivy and Duran and these people to play. No. I'm not even going down that path. Ivy's probably going to get the 206 from me. So that's how I'm looking at that situation. I'm ice cold. Y'all know that. But nevertheless, Dame, other places you can go. Obviously, there's plenty of them, man. But I just think the Miami Heat are probably the very last one. Like, absolutely the last. There's Miami, Clippers. This team you should never want to go to if you're an old guy. Because they just don't have nothing, man. They're probably going to trade you to get rid of their problems. So, that's pretty much what we keep saying. Salute the Kobe Minute. You know what I'm saying? I heard that he's going to be on the new cover of NBA 2K24, so that's a big deal. Congratulations to the Bryant family. It's always love to see them grace the cover of anything, for that matter. So, that's where my head is in regards to that. And, yeah, man, that's it. This is supposed to be a Matisse Thybulle goes to Portland Goes back to Portland conversation, but anything in regards to Portland, we got to consider Dame Lillard right now. And given the fact that we're nowhere near a trade, unless it happened while I was on this camera, I think things are getting uglier, and I think there's going to be more conversations like this to be had in the future. But I'm going to tell you something else, man. I was listening to myself have conversations about Ben Simmons, listening to myself have conversations about certain guys, and I'm just realizing they're going to have to be very careful not to play poorly this year because they're not going to be as relevant. When you consider all the players that are coming in, the influx of new talent, as we always say, you start thinking about these names and these issues that they have, and you start realizing that they have other options that they could play. They don't need to play you. Put Clowney in the floor on the game. In the game, you can put Claxton in the game now. You know, it's different for those guys. They're not as relevant. You know what I mean? And so they're gonna find that out real quickly. You know, they got to play well. That's it. I don't know if Dame's necessarily headed there, but it's gonna be a situation where, you know, you want to make sure you get to the right landing spot. You want to make sure that you keep playing well. You want to make sure you maintain your health, have a good offseason working out, all this stuff. Don't let it be a distraction because I'm telling you, it's 82-game schedule, and guys' value can fluctuate rapidly, and nothing is unprecedented right now. I wouldn't be surprised nothing next year. Anybody can be a role player. Anybody can vault up to stardom, and I just think we better be prepared for some changes. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.